Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. Usually I'm only reacting to TCG Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist because that's the only format I actually bother to play. If we don't count custom cards, of course, yeah, that's the only format I really play TCG. I don't play OCG. I'm still just curious to see, like, what exactly the East does different from the West in terms of how they handle their ban lists. So this is coming as no surprise that Beatrice is also getting banned in the OCG as well. For reasons I probably already explained earlier, there's just so many things you can do with a card that just both sends any card from your deck to the graveyard on your turn, and if she's still on your field, on your opponent's turn, you can do it then too, because yeah, it was stable to a quick effect. Of course, all of this, especially after you could just get to, like, a rank 6 with one single card, that being a single copy of a Fiendsmith Engraver. Assuming you just added very few extra cards to your main deck to make this work. And yeah, on TCG side, I'm pretty sure also on OCG side, but I know for sure on TCG side, you can still get to a 1-card rank 6. It's just not going to be at Beatrice because, yeah, she's banned over there too. Alright, so what do they limit over in OCG land? Okay, so they're bringing... I just keep on thinking one day Dryden's gonna come off the list. I can never stop thinking about that one Eric guy who sent for Dryden on Dueling Book every time someone mentions Dryden, and I think that's also part of the reason I bought like 7 copies over the past year or two. I picked up like 7 copies of Dryden and I'm just sitting on them, expecting them to get unbanned one day and then the price will just go up. Okay, so over in OCG land, they unbanned Dryden. Isn't Masterpiece, isn't he the one that's, like, unaffected by card effects? It takes 2 tributes. You can use continuous spells or continuous traps as if they are monsters tribute summon. And it is completely unaffected by the effects of... And it's completely unaffected by card effects that share card types with whatever your tribute is, so you tribute a monster and a spell. I think that's the best case scenario. It's unaffected by all monster and all spell effects. Yeah, so very hard to get that off the field. But... yeah, I play Lava Golems, I used to play Kaijus. I just figured I'd stop playing Kaijus because I'm tributing only, like, 1 monster off their field, and they're still getting a monster on their field. Like, I'm going, like, -1, I think, at least, in card advantage every time I give someone a Kaiju. This is not worth it. I'm going down on card advantage just to guarantee I can get some problem monster off the board. When, like, let's just say there's, like, 3 or more problem monsters on my opponent's board. What am I gonna do with just getting rid of one of them? Oh, right, I thought I remembered something about Dark... yeah, it was Red Eye's Dark Dragoon being banned in the OCG, but we've had him in the TCG for as long as I can remember. Ever since I got back into the game, that was like a boss monster. You could easily summon off of, yeah, back when Verte was legal. And even you can still do it with Red Eye's Fusion if you don't mind not be able to special summon anything else that same turn. So Snatch Steal, we got this back. I was about to say last year, yeah. I think, like, just very end of last year we got Snatch Steal back. Bellstar the Black Witch, that's from Agov. Snake Eyes Poplar, that checks out. Yeah, that was apparently the card that just really pushed Snake Eyes over the top. I'm guessing Snake Eye Ash isn't here unless... I think I heard something about Snake Eye Ash getting limited on a previous OCG list. Whereas here in the TCG we had it, like, at 3 for quite a bit longer. But then again, we get all the new cards later than they do in the OCGs, so it checks out. Isn't this the Tenpai Dragon that kind of just does everything with 1 card? Phantom of Yubel, isn't this the monster? I haven't been playing that much Yu-Gi-Oh! As of late, but I heard this is like the monster you can just easily fusion summon by just shuffling back materials in your graveyard, so it's basically just like a free body in Yubel. Even after you've already just summoned a bunch of monsters you were gonna summon anyways. Okay, over in the East, they're going hard on the Fiendsmith. Okay, they're really going hard on the Fiendsmith engine here. Tractus to 1 and Engraver to 1. Can you even do, like, Fiendsmith shenanigans with 1 Engraver, 1 Tractus anymore? And Bonfire to 1, another hit to Snake Eyes? I don't know, like, what exactly the OCG metagame looks like. I really couldn't care too much because I'm not playing it. I just see it as, like, the format that has Max C at 3, and, like, no, I don't want to, like, play a format with Max C in it. But, wow. Then again, from what I know, like, OCG cards are typically way more affordable. Like, the rarest a card can be, like, with the minimum rarity anyways, is, like, I think Ultra? Whereas here we have cards, like, in secret rare slots. Yeah, no, OCG land, they do cards, like, in higher rarities, but the minimum rarity something can be is an Ultra Rare. Whereas here it's a secret. I also don't know, like, all the ratios for OCG, but I know, like, TCG side of things. You're getting a secret rare typically, like, 1 in every 12 packs, or, like, 2 per box. And we get, like, 10 in every new, like, core booster set. And what if there's, like, typically only 1 or 2 that we really want to see in one of our secret rare slots? So I just always imagine, like, OCG, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just banning problem cards, like, or just limiting them, like, a lot quicker than on the TCG side. Because the cards can not really get, like, quite as expensive as they can get over here. Yeah, last I checked, I think Fiendsmith Engraver on our side is, like, still at least 120 bucks a copy, and this is, like, after the engine got weakened because Lacrima was taken out of the equation. You can't end on, like, a Link 2 plus a rank 6 with just 1 card, and you also lose out on the 1200 burn damage you were getting for free because Lacrima was banned in the TCG. But yeah, you can still do quite a few things with the Fiendsmith engine, just 1 card rank 6s if you're willing to still, like, fork over 300 bucks for a playset of just the Engraver. The rest of the engine, last I checked, wasn't too pricey, but the Engravers, that's gonna cost you. So what are they semi-limiting? Max C to 2. Why put this to 2? Why not just ban this outright? Why not just go do what the TCG does right? At least get Max C, like, taken out of the game. Yeah, as someone who's never actually played a single format of Yu-Gi-Oh! With Max C in it, and has just heard about, like, what it can do, this says a lot. I've never had to deal with the card at any point once in my life, and I still hate the prospect of having to play against it. I mean, come on, like, your opponent sets up a near unbreakable board, and then just because they draw, like, 1 card, they just activate it, and now every time you try and make a play, they're just gonna keep on going, like, +1. Or you try and set up a board, and then they just have the Max C, and if you can't respond to it, like, immediately, you might just lose on the spot. You either have to make, like, a really shitty board that they can easily break, or you have to just end on maybe a decent board, and if your deck requires you to special summon a lot, then it's basically GG's from there. Like, they're gonna have so much card advantage that it doesn't matter what board you set up, they can easily break it. I know this is one of the floodgates, and why is it a 2? We have it at 1 over here in the TCG. Okay, more cards. Pancratops was at 1 in the OCG? We pretty recently got it, like, back up to 2. We still have this band, I'm pretty sure, over in the TCG. We never saw this on any list in the TCG. Gold Sarcophagus to 2, I know what that is. Fusion Destiny. that was still on the OCG list? Fusion Destiny hasn't, I don't even think that's been a problem in, like, 2 years. Like, the real problem was the snake. Anyone who would know, anyone who was, like, playing, like, early 2022, they would know the real problem was the snake. With any 2 monsters in the game, you could just dump this and the fusion materials from your deck and make a free DPE. Anyone who was around pretty quickly figured out it was the snake that was the problem. So, stuff I can't really care about too much because I'm not playing this format. I'm just gonna, like, skip to. Okay, all of the Dragon Rulers are coming off the ban lists on the OCG side, and probably in about, like, the next 3-4 months, we're gonna see the Dragon Rulers come off the ban list because they're not really doing much of anything. They're not breaking the game. It's not 2013 anymore. I heard this card got in the Rata to just basically nerf it. I don't know what this is. Wait, they had Zeus at 1? I remembered something about the OCG having Zeus at 1, but did it really, like, do anything? Like, I don't even know anybody who runs, like, multiple copies of Zeus anyways. Kirin, the card that I took a quick look at it and I had no idea why it was banned. It's some pendulum monster. I don't really care about pendulums. I just remember that the card wasn't, like... It didn't need to be banned, and it didn't even need to be limited either. That's all I have to say about this one. Raigeki was a 2? Interesting to see what the ban list looked like. I know it doesn't sound like quite as much as I care as I do with the TCG ban list reactions, because yeah, TCG is basically like all I play. I don't play OCG. But just for the fun of it, I want to see what this ban list looked like. Still, max C to 2 just has me rolling on the floor. What is max C to 2 realistic gonna do about the card that just, you play this and you might just win the game on the spot if they can't just ash it or called by it? Unless maybe this is just a warning that eventually they're planning to phase out max C with the new Mulcharmy cards that sort of emulate max C, but you can't use this if you control any cards already, so the Mulcharmies are basically almost, I think they're almost completely like restricted just going second. Maybe you could try and use it going first, but nah, that sounds like a bad idea. Passing your first turn without putting anything on the board sounds like a terrible idea. And if you draw too many cards with a Mulcharmy, you have to put some back, and each Mulcharmy only checks special summons from like a certain like zone, whereas Max C just counts every special summon. So I'm really thinking that maybe just after enough ban lists on the OCG side, they're gonna phase out Max C, they're just gonna ban it, so this one they semi-limit it, maybe 4 months from now, or 3 months, or however frequent these ban lists are. It goes to 1, and then after that it goes to 0, but I have no idea. I just like to guess this is eventually just going to be seeing its way out the door, even in OCG land as well, because, yeah, as I was mentioning, the new Mulcharmy hand traps basically do what Max C does, but just more or less adapt it for the times where you basically need to often special summon. And some decks need to special summon like well over 5 times just to do anything like decent. Yeah, I'm talking about a card that was designed for a metagame where special summoning wasn't the norm. Back in like, I think, 2010. Special summoning was not the norm. This is 2024. Yeah, Max C needs to go. Why is it a 2?